All right, welcome back, YouTube. Thank you for checking out the channel, TRTT. Yeah, we got another quick video. It has been a few weeks since I've uploaded one. Man, the allergy season kicked in and tore me up. So I don't know if you can tell my voice is a little off, and I'm going to do my best to keep any of those, to keep any of those off the channel. Things are just a little bit rough still. Allegra, Zyrtec, all that stuff just really isn't touching what's going on. But we're going to do our best to get through this video. So, today's video is going to be another Kevin Samuels. I really like Kevin Samuels. He did kind of start this manosphere movement kind of thing. I am not red pill. I just hold men accountable for their actions. And I'm an advocate for men. Not that I'm not an advocate for women. The difference is that men typically don't have a sister code. So we don't have a man's code or anything like that. So for the most part, if a man's doing something wrong, I'll listen to it and be like, yeah, this dude needs to step up. He needs to do this and the other. That is not a blanket statement for all men. But women tend to want to protect and always assume you don't know the other woman's side of the story. You don't know this. I don't really do that with men. But I enjoy the kind of content that I put out. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button and subscribe. Smash that notification bell. We're going to jump right into this video. This one is called It Was My Fault. Kind of Kevin Samuels talking to a young lady about postponing therapy because she feels like she found some new spirituality. I'm all for going to church and spirituality and things like that, but let's just see what Kevin's take is on that.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. How old are you?
I'm 26.
26. What do you want to discuss today? Which topic?
Well, you just asked, why are you single without blaming a man?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wanted to just answer on my point of view as to why I'm single.
Okay.
I would say initially, I feel like we always tend to blame the other person, but being that I've been having time to reflect, I've noticed that I have a codependency, and I feel like the person that I was with, they showed me and told me what they wanted, and they didn't want a relationship, but I stuck around because of my low self-esteem, because of things that I lacked within myself.
People have a tendency to want to stay in these relationships because they think that they can change the other person. So I'm all about a person being direct and upfront. If you're not looking for a relationship and you tell somebody you're not looking for a relationship, I feel that that kind of washes your hands from these later issues down the road of people wanting commitment. I don't think that you should play games with people's emotions. I think that if you're looking for kind of like the Netflix and chill thing, which I'm not a huge fan of or any of that, if you're direct up front, that's fine, but I don't like when people say I thought it was something different. The person was direct. You got to just be direct up front.
Self-love. So I allowed things that weren't really fulfilling to me or made me happy, or, I basically settled because of the things that I lacked within myself. So that's so I came to a place where I was like, I was unfair to set expectations on you, because I already knew what you wanted.
True.
So I'm sorry. And that's pretty much what I said to the person,
Okay.
Because I for a long time, I was like, you didn't step up. You weren't like, you didn't show me enough affection or enough love. You didn't show me that you wanted me. And it was like, what was wrong with me that I felt like I had to sit there and say, pick me, love me?
How long ago was this relationship?
It's been over now for like 6 months.
Okay. And how long were you guys together?
3 years.
Oh.
2 or 3?
2.
Have you gotten into any counseling or therapy?
So that is a long time. So one of the things I will touch on is when she says, what is it about me that says pick me, love me? I think that is not a negative thing, that you want to be picked. I think if you want to be in a relationship and you want to be married and you advertise yourself as marriage-minded and wife material, there's nothing wrong with that. I think the people who typically have an issue with that are the people who cannot secure a relationship, and they'll call you these like pick-me-shas, and you're trying, and in the end, the result is, down the road is that these people typically want relationships too. They just can't get what they want. So then what they do is just nitpick the people who they don't want. So they'll say, I want a man who makes a lot of money and who has a good job. Typically, the standards are way higher than that, but that are just 2 basic ones. So you can't find a man who makes money. You can't find a man who makes a job. So then what you tend to want to focus on is the fact that all these broke guys and broke. The broke guys aren't the ones you want. The problem is that you want something you can't get. So you tend to focus on what it is that you wouldn't want anyways. So I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to be picked and wanting to be in a relationship. Second is, it is a long time to be with somebody for 2 years. I mean, it's not horribly long, but the window for women is a lot smaller to where the competition gets a lot larger. So, when you're 23, 24, you're kind of in that prime, so that's great. But when you waste 2 years and now you're in the 25, 26, and you waste 2 more years, you're in the 28, now you're back out there at 28 competing with 24, which not always as bad, but sometimes in these failed relationships you end up having children or trauma or issues that you really need to get taken care of, that the younger person in your category that men are looking for really are not, they don't have those issues, or they might not have those issues. So, for example, when I talk to somebody who says they've been in 2 long-term relationships, and I'm like, how old are you? You're like 24. I'm like, well, how long-term can it be? Oh, I dated a guy in high school from when I was like 13 to like 18. I'm like, oh, I mean, you don't really know much about yourself. You're still young. Let's talk about the prime area. And everybody is not necessarily in that situation. So typically the younger you are, the less failed relationships you have and the less trauma and issues you have to deal with moving forward. The older you get, there tends to be more issues. So this is why that window for guys kind of maybe not even noticeable, maybe down in somebody's psyche, is when they kind of just want these younger people, younger issues. Now I'm not talking about, these below age or these... what's the word I'm looking for it's YouTube safe? These schoolgirl costume kind of people. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about adults, mature adults. Me, I don't date broke people. I don't date bums. So a mature adult who's not a bum, who has something going for them, to date that and find that at a early age is fine. That's great. But typically, like I said, as you find out later on, there's more relationships and more traumas and all that, which can throw up a lot of more red flags.
To deal with?
No.
Okay. Why not?
Because I've for a while I've been through a lot of things in my life, and one of the things that has helped me is my spirituality and my relationship with God. So I kind of feel like that's enough for me. But
God made counselors.
Yeah.
Right. So I realize.
See, that is a big thing for me too. I really agree with God making counselors and therapists, because in the same scenario, God makes doctors, right? So when a person says, hey, I'm not going to go seek any treatment because God, you don't hear that as much per se. I'm going to go to the doctor and pray that, God helps these out. We can figure out what's going on, blah, 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 blah. People do that. But people don't want to go to counseling for some reason. It's a big deal to work on their stuff. Biblically, it says you work on everything in the natural and in the supernatural. So if you want to go down that route, there's nothing wrong with doing everything you can physically on earth and everything you can do spiritually in your spirituality. So the same scenario is losing weight. Pray to God that you can lose weight. You're going to have to do something. Faith without works is dead. That's just kind of one of the things as well. So yeah, you have spirituality, but what else are we doing? All right. That's what a guy, let's just look at this person. They look full of joy and happy, but you got to work on your issues if you have them.
I made counselors just like he made doctors, and I feel like I do need to tap into sitting down with someone who can help me understand more so why I think the way I think, because I've been through traumatic situations, and I feel like those traumatic situations that I've experienced kind of made me feel like I wasn't worthy of certain things. So for example, you speak a lot about like high value men, right? And I'm a woman, I'm 26, and I own 2 businesses. I'm a founder in one and a co-founder in the other. So, it's building up. It's brand new. It's a startup. And I'm not where I feel like I want to be yet. But let's just say...
As far as what?
As far as, like, income and, like, my lifestyle, things like that. I want more for myself.
These are where things get challenging. She's a co-owner of a business. She's a business owner, which is no problem. So we're progressing and we're moving forward in our life as far as a financial building. But we're not focused on relationships and marriage. Relationships and marriage tend to have better nuclear families, which have better incomes, better outcomes for children and things moving forward. With that being said, It's okay to focus on yourself and getting yourself better. But I personally think that people need to put just as much focus into just securing their relationships and securing their marriages and making the best version of themselves in a relationship status as they do in the business status. So if you're going to be a business and you want to just go forward, I want to be the owner, I want to be this, that, and the other. If you want to be a wife, you need to just focus on being able to be the best wife. She start talking about her achievements. Then she's not sure if she's where she's at, want to be financially. You grow together as a couple if you're kind of average people. If you're not average people and you're in the high standards and you're able to kind of be a high value man and then pick down from the bushes and all that, you can kind of already get you an established man. But for the most part, people tend to grow together on average. You're trying to grow by yourself. It's going to put you in a bad position to where then, a lot of people want men to make more. And if the man doesn't make more and you grow together, usually not much of a problem until you meet somebody who can be great. And then you find out that you're a business owner and you're a CEO and you're this, that, and the other. And this dude is a cook. I don't have anything wrong with that. But some people be like, oh, gosh, he's so great. But he doesn't make the money. And people just let things like that materialistic stuff just destroy their lives.
Life about?
What is life about?
Mm-hmm.
Happiness, right? Love?
Mm-hmm.
No?
Mm-hmm.
What?
People. Family.
Okay.
So I was going to let you
Marriage.
talk, and you were going to tell me how you're so busy and this and that, and my business is not where it was, so I don't have time. Life is about people.
Mm.
Have you ever sat down with somebody 80 plus years old in like a retirement community or something like that? One thing they really never talk about is, I wish I made more money, or I wish I'd have worked harder. They talk about the things they regret, and it's usually about relationships.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you know you're self-described codependent and you're not going to counseling, you're just going to throw your codependency into business? Okay, then guess what'll happen? You'll wake up and you'll be smack dab in the danger zone, and you still won't be any better off for the next potential person that you run into.
Yep.
Mm.
You're just, see, like it or not, women have to get the major parts of their life together earlier. Do you want children?
I do.
Do you have any children?
I do not.
All right. Well, I'm not the creator, but before you need to have your children before age 35, before geriatric pregnancy attaches. And usually most OBGYNs will
They
tell
don't
you
recommend
to
it.
have your children, period, by age 42. That's crazy that we're even talking about that, but it's because so many women are postponing the things that make life worth living: people, family, community.
Mm. So I have a question for you.
Well,
When do you think is the right time to move on or build with someone new? I know I need to work on myself more because I have, as you mentioned, therapy would be a good thing for me. But at what point do you think?
My answer to that is, I don't want to say immediately, but you have so much time. And in this time, you can't really waste. So women have that 10 years, maybe that, 20 to 30 area to where, everybody in college in these times, my friends, people getting married, securing marriages, getting right out of school and going to weddings. A lot of people got married. If it doesn't work and you're 26, let's say depending on your timeline, if you're not okay with getting married immediately, now you're going to be in another 2-year relationship and you're going to be 28. How long do you want to be in this relationship before you have children? I think that you need to work on yourself. And after you work on yourself, decide what you want. So if I make myself the best version of me and I go into a relationship, it's not going to take me 2 years to figure out this isn't going to work. Then, afterwards, if that relationship fails in a year, I still am the good version of me. I can focus on what went wrong in that relationship, basically. But hopefully it's not traumatic issues. And then I'll, a little longer get into another relationship. I don't think that there's a time frame in between for men, because men kind of get their value later on in life. I think the time frame for women needs to be a little bit smaller, but you need to be able to do this in a sense that you don't have your body count all up and you don't create babies and you don't create trauma. So a lot of body count issues increasing usually leads to a lot of trauma for women. So you I'm not really sure what the answer is. Keep your body count down. Date people who have your same intentions in life. Focus on getting yourself to where you need to be. And weed out the people who do not want what you want. And that decreases the chances of getting into negative, just end of the wall or just not going anywhere relationships.
Would be a good time because I'm gonna be honest. Like I met someone, and I would like to consider them a high value man, and I just feel like I don't want to say I'm not worthy of it, but how can I?
See? Well, the general benchmark is a third of the time you were with somebody is how long it takes to heal. That's a general benchmark, but there is no scientific formula for it except this. Once you can take accountability for what you were and you really become indifferent about that person. See, the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. But you just said what I said earlier. You're 26, and most young women, especially most young attractive women, move as if men will never run out. You do realize there's going to come a time very soon that men are going to stop really approaching you like they do.
Yeah, I do.
So, if you run into a suitable man right now and you're the unsuitable or unfit one, you can't really sit back at 35 or 40 years old and say you didn't have an opportunity.
I say that a lot of times when I talk to people that in bad phases of people's lives, when they don't have their stuff together and they're not in tune to themselves, they probably met a real suitable partner or the partner who is their kind of like person at some point. So there's a chance if you can look back and say, man, I should have tried harder, I shouldn't have done this and I shouldn't have done that. That might have been the person that you were really suitable with that you just kind of messed up. So this is why I say keep yourself in the best version of yourself as possible. You know, even guys, you can look back and say, you know, I kind of let that one get away. There's a possibility, in my opinion, that we've run into the person that was meant for us. Some of us has grasped that person and married. Some of us haven't. And this is when you say at 80 years old, people inside the nursing home, 90 years old, people at the last stages of their lives will say, I wish I had did this better. I wish I tried to make it work out with your dad better. I wish I did this and wish I settled down when I was younger. I wish I did a lot of things. And majority of it, as Kevin said, is not going around. I wish I worked more and spent less time with you all.
So I asked what's life about, and it's not about all the stuff you're talking about. That's important, but is that what really makes life worth living?
No, it's not.
You didn't grow up.
Do you have any siblings?
Wanting to be single.
I do.
How many?
Total is 6 of us.
How many children does your mother have?
She has 5.
All from the same man?
No.
How many fathers?
3.
Did she marry any of them?
Yeah, she married one of them.
Was your father was the man she married?
No.
Is she still married?
No.
All right. So, arguably, you didn't have stable relationship model.
Nope.
But you still did have family of sorts. Where are you at in the birth order?
I'm the 3rd.
Oh, you're like a middle child. That starts to make sense. Yeah, therapy. Therapy. I always recommend therapy because, see, when I was your age, I had something that most people didn't have. I had just got over chemotherapy and cancer.
Oh.
At 21 years old, when I was ready to take on the world, the universe had other plans. I had to stop, sit down, have a tumor the size of my foot removed from my abdomen to get 8 months of chemotherapy, and realize that guess what? You can die. It makes you reevaluate. You're still living life like you got plenty of time. Like there's no real hurry. So whatever guy you believed in, if he said, guess what? You're only going to live till 40 years old. Do you think he'd still be postponing therapy and relationships?
Mm-mm.
Why?
Because I want to experience having my own family.
Because it's more important than the jobs and businesses. I mean, that's stuff that you need to support that. But what's more important is that.
Right. And you know, oh, sorry.
So that's all I'm saying is don't poke. Most people fear therapy because they don't really want to. It's kind of like I know how to. It's kind of like if you ever drove a broke down car. You know kind of how it pulls to the left, or you have to pump 3 times to do this. You know all the routines. Mm-hmm. But if you get somebody a new car, they got to learn a new routine. After therapy, you're going to have to learn a new routine. You spend 26 years of your life becoming the person you are. But the thing is, has it been an enjoyable 26 years? Do you like your life?
I would like to say that I like how far I've come, because as I mentioned, when I was 17, I went through a very traumatic situation too for 5 years. And I believe that that's what kind of like, I remember going through that situation and telling my dad, oh, I don't think a man will ever love me. I feel like, I don't know. Like, I think a lot of my feeling.
You know, I've heard similar conversations like this from people who I know, some people close, some people not close. But, you know, listening to these things went with Kevin Samuels, you know, a lot of the things that you go through kind of make the person you are today. And I've went through some stuff. That'd probably be another video. Is just what has made me, what qualifies me to be the person who is on here saying anything. I'm not qualified, but I'm just a person. I might make a video about that. But, you know, hearing her, she's missing some things for 5 years. You know, it's a lot. That's a lot to hear. It makes you think. That's all over here just like, man. Therapy is the best thing for people, men and women both. You got some things to work on as a man, get some therapy. You got some things to work on as a woman, get some therapy.
So, by comparison, you're better than you were, but do you like your life overall?
It depends on, I mean...
Would you want a daughter to have your life?
Yeah.
Traumas and all.
What is it?
Traumas and all.
No.
Okay. So what I'm saying is we get to choose our life. We don't get to choose what happens to us. We get to choose how we handle it. So at 26, you can do everything you talked about doing and get your head together to understand your issues, whatever they are, start working on them, spin the plate of businesses, and spin the plate of relationships. You don't get a chance to do them one at a time. You don't get to do them one at a time. Therapist just told me I'd make a good therapist. Yeah, I'm mad at it. I'm talking to you after this too, Miss Thing. Seriously, you know, I don't want to delve into what happened, but I don't want you to waste the next. You're 26. It's very critical that you decide what you want. Like if you want to be a wife, that's what I have. So it's not to make women pissed off. It's like the yellow light that says you either need to stop or speed up, but you can't just keep doing it. And at this point, when you're 80 years old, do you want to have a husband, children, grandchildren, maybe great-grandchildren? What do you want?
I honestly, like, I don't, and this is why I feel like I'm like so codependent, because I don't enjoy being single. Like, I'm not the person.
That's not codependent. That's human.
Oh, okay, fine. So it's normal. Some people make it seem like, oh, that's weird. You don't like to be single. Like, being single is fun. For me,
no.
Single people say that.
Are these single women?
Yeah.
See, the problem is women your age are being told by women your age that let's just go out and have hot girl summer, when 50, 60 years ago, women your age
would have been married.
Fun was being a wife and a mother and living and building in a community. Because all the stuff that your friends are calling fun now,
they have different names to what they were when I was younger.
You can have 1 or 2 good years of that, but it's time to graduate and move on to the next thing. I said this before, and your friends may not mean it, but single women keep women single.
They do.
And if you know you want a family, children, and a husband, you can have that and the things you say you want, but you have to prioritize it, because if if you don't focus on what it is you want downstream, that time will pass. I know plenty of women who really want to be wives and have children, but now their options are limited because we're not given the information that they needed to do something about it.
And they prioritize the wrong things in their best years.
Even 3 years ago. So, therapy, understand yourself, realize that we're all jacked up. You just got to find somebody who's crazy, matches your crazy. Find somebody who you can work with, respect, build with, and move on down the path. And if your friends who said that you're codependent or whatever, they want something different, love them, move on down the path. You can still be friends with them, but you need a different kind of group of friends that want a lifestyle to support you, because it will be very hard to be a woman who wants to be married with children with a bunch of friends who want to be hot girls. You're going to have to be in a community and a culture and a neighborhood that supports what you want. And see, you sound to me like you'd be happier over in a relationship with a man that meets your needs, ideals, have a family, an extended family, and all that other stuff. Then all the other stuff you're talking about, the business and everything else, just goes on top of that. I'll say this and I'm going to wrap it up. Any decision made in fear, scarcity, or lack tends to be a wrong-headed decision. If it's always fear-based, if it's always scarcity or lack-based, you need to rethink that. That's why therapy is so good, because you have somebody to talk these things through. And they're not your friends. Your friends are meant to be friends. The therapists are meant to help you get on down the path. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Bye-bye. And most first sessions are free, so don't wait. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Many therapists give an initial consultation for free. So don't let money be a reason why you don't seek a professional opinion.
All right, so I think Kevin did great in that one. You know, all the videos that Kevin has is not a roast session to where he destroys people. I think this is a real prime example of how he gives back a reflection of what he's getting. So you give him attitude, he's going to give it back. You want to go crazy, he's going to give it crazy. He didn't hit her with the weight, dress size, right in your face, because she wasn't talking about meeting her standards. She was talking about reflecting on herself and making her a better version of herself, and why she did not get therapy, which he definitely encouraged. Also, she talked about her friends who kind of fed into her a little bit, that she is being a little codependent to where, you know, it might not necessarily be the thing. Maybe you just need a different group of friends. So I have heard people talk about, and I have seen in these videos, that people will say that, hey, if you're not like-minded, maybe you just eliminate those friends around you and put like-minded friends around you. However, if you're like-minded, if you are saying, hey, dating is trash and men suck, and you surround yourself by people like that, you know, I don't think that's the right mindset to have. But anybody who opposes it necessarily isn't on the same frequency as you. It's just maybe they're trying to pull you over to a better frequency to where you can hear a little bit better. But, you know, just make sure you're getting what you want. You're surrounding yourself by like people. Don't eliminate yourself from people who just have just a different opinion, because, you know, sometimes the differences of opinion can be something you need to hear. But yeah, good one for Kevin on this one. I liked it. Nice, beautiful young lady. Hopefully she'll be able to find whatever she's looking for her in the future. Get herself some therapy. Online, you can do different ones. BetterHelp.com, a couple different ones like that. There is therapy everywhere. And, you know, that's good. So we're going to wrap this one up. I am just been thinking about in this video some content that I'm going to be let out in the next one. So stay tuned to that. If you enjoy this kind of stuff, check out one of these two videos that we have right here.